All right. Good morning, deputies. Can you all hear me?
Good morning, Your Honor. We can hear you.
Okay, great. All right. If you all are ready, I'm ready to get going. Do you have everything that you need ready, deputy?
Yes, sir. Can y'all hear him back there? Yeah. All right. Yes.
Oh,
Yes, Your Honor. We're good. We're ready.
all right. It is approximately 11 a.m. this morning, and this is January 14th of 2024. My name is Judge Marcus Thorpe, and we are now streaming live on YouTube. Again, good morning. It's January 14th of 2024. This is the magistrate court. I'm a magistrate court judge presiding over this morning's calendar. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go through today's calendar, if you're having trouble hearing me as I speak to you each individually, please let me know. There are a few things I'm gonna need to go over with each of you prior to starting the calendar. So please listen carefully as it will help you better understand the nature and purpose of today's proceeding. First, let me say to each of you, I am not here to try your case, take a plea, or have any legal discussions with you about the specific facts of your case. The purpose of this first appearance hearing is to inform you of the charges against you, to advise you of certain rights, to set bond on those offenses for which the court is authorized to set bond, to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney. Now, each of you has the right to remain silent. So please, when I call each of you up individually, do not attempt to tell me specifics about your case or any legal defense you may have. As I said earlier, we are streaming live. There are several deputies around you. This is being recorded. And this hearing, you make yourself, each of us, a witness. So anything you say during this proceeding can and will be used against you in later proceedings. Now, during this and all other proceedings, you also have the following rights: the presumption of innocence, to indictment by a grand jury for felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors, to a speedy and public trial by jury, to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your own behalf, to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you, to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense, or to have an attorney represent you. If you cannot afford one, one can be appointed to you to represent you if you qualify. Now, citizenship. If there are those of you who are not citizens, some charges may adversely affect your immigration status. You will need to consult with an immigration attorney at a later time if that is the case. Now, as I call each of you up individually, as I said, I'm going to talk to you about your bond, and I'm also going to talk to you about what you've been charged with by the police. Some of you will be allowed to post what are called unrestricted bonds for your release from jail, pending the prosecution of your case. Now, these bonds may be posted in three different ways. You can post a bond in cash, by commercial, or by property. If you post a cash bond, that means either you or someone you know will have to deliver the full amount of bond in cash, together with any mandated fees, to the sheriff's office, who will then hold your money until your final court date. Once that final court date happens, your cash will be returned to you in person or the person who posted it. Now, the example I like to use is if you are charged with a battery family violence, and I tell you your bond is $6,000. If you wanted to do cash, either you or someone you know would have to bring $6,000 plus any fees the sheriff requires, and it will be held by the sheriff until your case is closed. Now, if you don't have the full bond amount in cash, you could also use a commercial bonding company. Now, the commercial bonding company may take anywhere from 12 to 15% of the bond for their service. And let me please reiterate, this fee will not be returned to you. And so the example again I use, if you're charged with family violence, I tell you your bond is $6,000, you'd roughly have to come up with about 12 to 15%, which is about $750 to bond out using a bonding company. Now, if you choose to, you do have the third way, as I mentioned, which is to use the property bond. So what it will require is that someone would have to post a property bond as long as they have equity in their property that is at least 3 times the amount of your bond. So again, the example, if you're charged with family violence, your bond is $6,000, you would need to bring a deed, or someone you know, bring a deed up to the sheriff's office that has at least $18,000 in equity in the property. Now, as I call each of you up individually, I'm going to talk to you, as I said, about how much your bond is, what you've been charged with, but there are special conditions also. Each of you will have a condition of your bond that you are not to violate the laws of the United States or the state of Georgia while out on bond. But there are some of you who will have additional special conditions that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places. If you have a no contact provision on your bond, this means you must stay away and no contact with the victim. You may not call, text, email, write a letter to, or contact through any social media platform. You can't even do something as nice for them as such as sending them flowers or writing a song. Because as nice as you think that may be, that is a violation of your bond. Now, if I order you not to return to a particular location, that means you cannot go back to that location for any reason. If that location is a shared residence, meaning you used to live there with the alleged victim, please let me know and I will authorize you to go back, but only when you are with the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release to get items that are not in dispute. So if I tell you that you're to stay away from the place you lived for a period of time until your case is closed, if you make your bond, you've got 10 days to get with the sheriff to go over there with you to get any items that belong to you. Now, if you do violate the bond order, please let me also let you know you can be subject to new charges. The court considers any violation of these bond orders, so no contact, staying away from a particular piece of property, as intimidating or harassing the victim. So you could receive additional felony charges such as aggravated stalking or influencing a witness. These types of charges carry punishment of up to 20 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Also, let me tell you, as you are thinking about your bond amount and thinking about how you might be able to get out on bond, if your spouse, family member, or friend, or girlfriend or boyfriend is the alleged victim in your case, he or she will not be allowed to post your bond, as the court, remember, will have a no contact order in place as a special condition on your bond. You are also not allowed to contact that victim while you're in jail. Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail. In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County, and I will give you that date as well. If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time. Whether a bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider your new arrest. Now, the last thing I want to talk about before we take the oath and start the calendar is what is called a preliminary hearing. The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is enough evidence or probable cause to keep you detained on your charges. If you bond out, when I tell you how much your bond is, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived because you're out of jail and no longer in custody. However, if you are charged with misdemeanors, you have a right to tell me, Judge, this morning, I want that hearing, or no, I do not. If you're charged with felonies, I'm going to automatically give you that hearing unless you bond out. Now, again, preliminary hearing, you are present, the officer is present, your attorney is present, and the officer must tell the judge about the evidence they have against you. You have a right to that hearing if you're charged with a misdemeanor, but it's not required. So if you don't want to have it and you'd rather say, Judge, I want my case to move a little quicker up the pipeline, so please go ahead and waive it and let's move forward. When I ask you whether you want that hearing if you're charged with a misdemeanor, please let me know and that you prefer to waive it. So now finally, I'm about to read to you all the oath. And after I'm done, I will ask you to respond by saying I do. So if I could have everyone please raise your right hand. Everyone, do you swear or affirm that the information that you're about to give to this court, as well as any information you provided on your application for court-appointed counsel, is true and correct? If so, say I do. I do. All right, you may put your hands down. All right, Ms. Toles, I believe I see we do have a couple of gentlemen here.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning.
Here at the beginning. Good morning. I believe, is it Mr. Rivera and Mr. Ramirez, deputies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right, so Ms. Toles, if you would please raise your right hand.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you swear or affirm that the information that you're going to interpret, you will interpret appropriately and correctly from English to Spanish or from Spanish to English?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. So we will start with, well, actually, let's speak to them both first. If you deputies could make sure the other gentleman who's behind is close enough that he can hear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, Ms. Toles, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hola, señores. Buenos días. Hoy les voy a servir de intérprete.
Gracias.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Good morning, gentlemen. This is your preliminary hearing where I'm going to explain to you what you've been charged with and how much your bond is.
Buenos días, señores. Esta es su audiencia preliminar donde les voy a explicar de qué se le ha acusado y de cuánto es su fianza.
Sí, está bien.
Neither of you are here for me to try your case or take a plea. So please be careful about what you tell me and do not talk to me about your case.
Ninguno de ustedes dos está aquí para que yo juzgue su caso, tampoco para que respondan ante las acusaciones. Así que por favor tengan cuidado con lo que me vayan a decir durante esta audiencia.
Está bien.
This is being recorded this morning.
La audiencia se está grabando hoy día.
Now, each of you has rights. You have the right to an attorney.
Cada uno de ustedes tiene derechos. Tienen derecho a un abogado,
You have the right to a presumption of innocence,
tienen derecho a la presunción de inocencia,
the right to an indictment by a grand jury for felonies,
el derecho a la presentación de cargos de delitos mayores por el gran jurado
or by accusation for misdemeanors.
o la presentación de cargos por delitos menores.
You have the right to a speedy and public trial,
Tiene derecho a un juicio público y sin demora,
to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf,
el derecho a exigir la presencia de testigos para que declaren a su nombre,
to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you,
el derecho a ver, a escuchar e interrogar los testigos convocados a declarar en su contra,
to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense,
el derecho a declarar a nombre suyo o presentar pruebas en su defensa,
to have an attorney represent you, and if you cannot afford one, I will appoint you one if you qualify.
el derecho a un abogado para que lo represente y si no puede costear un abogado, yo le puedo designar uno.
Also, if you are not a citizen, some charges may adversely affect your immigration status, so you will need to speak with an attorney about that.
Además, si no tuviera la ciudadanía, algunos cargos pudieran tener un efecto negativo en cuanto a su estatus migratorio, así que deberían consultar un abogado al respecto.
Está bien.
Now, each of you this morning, I'm going to talk to you about a preliminary hearing.
Entonces, con ustedes dos le voy a hablar sobre lo que es la audiencia preliminar.
Sí, está
A
bien.
preliminary hearing is where you, the police officer, and your attorney are present to talk about your case.
La audiencia preliminar es donde usted, el agente de policía y el juez están presentes para hablar sobre su caso.
However, I am going to release both of you this morning, and so you will have a piece of paper for each of you to sign, saying that you are giving up your right to your hearing.
Pero voy a dejar a ustedes dos en libertad esta mañana, entonces a ustedes lo van a poner a firmar un documento que hace constar que está renunciando a la audiencia.
Está bien.
Ok.
So starting with, I believe, Mr. Ramirez.
Entonces
Oh,
vamos a
excuse me.
empezar
Yes, Ramirez.
con el señor Ramírez.
Sí, está bien.
Are you Mr. Ramirez?
¿Es usted el señor Ramírez?
Sí.
Yes.
So, Mr. Ramirez, you are charged with one count of following too closely, sir.
Señor, se le ha imputado un delito de manejar muy de cerca de otro auto, señor.
I am going to go ahead, as I said, and release you this morning, but please remember that does not mean that your case is closed.
Como yo dije anteriormente, lo voy a dejar en libertad esta mañana, pero acuérdese, eso no significa que el caso se haya terminado.
Ok.
So please make sure that when you are released, that the jail has your best address so they can send you when your new court date will be.
Así que asegúrese, por favor, que cuando lo dejen en libertad, que la cárcel tenga su dirección correcta para que le pueda enviar la notificación de su próxima cita judicial.
Ok.
Ok.
All right. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta para mí, señor?
No, ninguna. Gracias.
No, none. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, sir. Have a good day.
Gracias, señor. Que tenga buen día.
Igualmente.
Thank you.
All right. Next up should be, this is Mr. Rivera.
El que sigue será el señor Rivera.
No.
No.
Okay. What is your name, sir?
¿Cuál es su nombre, señor?
Hugo Castañeda.
Hugo Castañeda.
Okay. Okay. I've got him here. Give me 1 second, Ms. Toes.
Aquí lo tengo. Un momento, permítame. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, so Mr. Castaneda, is that correct?
Muy bien. Entonces, usted es señor Castañeda, ¿correcto?
Sí.
Yes.
So, Mr. Castaneda, you are charged with improper lane change.
A usted se le ha imputado el delito de cambiarse de carril inapropiadamente, señor.
And as I mentioned earlier, I am going to release you here this morning.
Y como mencioné anteriormente, lo voy a dejar en libertad esta mañana.
Okay. But please keep in mind that does not mean that your case is closed. So you will have to be on the lookout in the mail for your next court date.
Pero recuerde, señor, eso no significa que el caso se haya cerrado, así que por favor esté pendiente del correo para la notificación de su próxima audiencia.
So upon your release, please make sure that we have the best address for you here at the jail, so that when you're released, they'll be able to send you where your new, what your new court date will be.
Y al salir de la cárcel, por favor, asegúrese de dejar su dirección correcta para que le pueda enviar la notificación de su próxima audiencia.
Está bien.
All right. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta para mí, señor?
No.
No.
Thank you so much. Good luck to you.
Gracias, señor. Buena suerte.
All right, deputies, I had a Miss Rivera as well. Does she speak English?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. She does speak English.
Okay. All right. Ms. Toles, I believe that's everyone then.
Thank you. You all have a great day.
All right, you
Hey.
too.
Your Honor, I have a quick question.
Uh-huh.
Those two gentlemen, the two ones who need this Spanish interpreter, you didn't want them to sign the
Yes,
waiver.
they do. Yes, I'm sorry. I meant to say that. Yes.
Okay.
I did tell them that in Spanish when she was here, so they do both need to sign.
Okay, yes, sir. We got it.
Okay. So that should put Miss Alexis Jackson up first, I believe, for the females.
Oh, all right, we good. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well, ma'am. Are you Miss Jackson?
Yes, sir.
All right, give me 1 second here, Miss Jackson. All right, so Ms. Jackson, you are charged with 1 count of simple battery family violence and 1 count terroristic threats. Your bond amount for the simple battery family violence is $2,500. Your bond amount for the terroristic threats is $8,000 for a total amount of $10,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am. So I'm looking at the information that you provided here. So you are currently working, you're earning about $8,000 a month, is that correct?
Yes, I work in the entertainment business.
Okay. And so based on that, ma'am, if you desire a lawyer on your case, you will have to obtain your own. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Your next court date, should you not make your bond, will be February 19th of 2024, and that'll be at 8:30 a.m. and that will be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions of me, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right, ma'am. So that is all I have for you. Again, that bond amount is $10,500. Your next court date is going to be on the 19th of next month, and you will have to hire your own attorney should you choose to acquire one for your case. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Next up, I'm showing Miss, I believe it's Margia King.
Miss who, Your Honor?
King?
King.
Yes.
She's coming.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good morning. Are you Miss King?
Great day, yes, sir.
All right, so Miss King, I have you here charged with 1 count of no license, driving suspended license. Ma'am, your bond amount is going to be $1,500. I see here you said that you are not working, so I am going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. Lastly, the question I have for you is whether you would like me to set you a preliminary hearing date that I mentioned earlier, or would you like to waive that hearing date and have me send your case on up to the prosecutor, move it along quicker?
Moving it along quicker means that I get the bond, right?
Well, no, so you got a bond either way.
Right.
By waiving your hearing, that means if you don't make the bond, you may not sit as long because your case will be accused much quicker. I'm sorry, did I lose you?
Yes, it glitched.
Okay, I was saying, what you were asking me is 2 separate things. Um, you've got a bond of 1,500 regardless. But that
Right.
preliminary hearing is a hearing you only get if you don't make the bond and you sit in custody, okay? If you make your, go ahead.
I don't need it.
Okay.
I already got
Okay.
a bond.
Okay, so then I'm gonna show you waiving your right to your preliminary hearing this morning, ma'am. And so the deputies there are gonna have a piece of paper for you to sign, showing that you're waiving it. And once you sign that, that's all I have for you, okay?
Okay, and then I can bond out, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. It should already be paid.
Yeah, you just gotta sign the waiver.
Okay,
All right. Next up, I'm showing Miss Kristen Satterwhite.
thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Miss who?
Satterwhite,
Miss Seth?
Satter White. Good morning. Are you Miss Satterwhite?
Yes.
Ms. Satterwhite, you are charged with 1 count of aggravated assault. You do have special conditions, ma'am, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Ms. Brazia Gillis, and to stay away from the address of 2024 Falcon Crest Trail. As I said earlier, if that's somewhere that you were living prior to the time of this incident, ma'am, or alleged incident, if you are given a bond at any time later on and you make that bond, within 10 days of your release, you have to get with the sheriff to get any items out of that home that belong to you until your case is closed. Do you understand that?
I missed a lot of what
Your
you
Honor,
said.
when you were speaking, it was going in and out, Your Honor.
Okay, let me start over, ma'am. So again, you are charged. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So again, you are charged with 1 count of aggravated assault. Your bond, I'm not going to give you bond this morning, so you're on a no bond status. You do
Okay.
have special conditions. Those conditions are you to stay away from the alleged victim, Ms. Brazia Gillis, and also from the stay away from the address of 2024 Falcon Crest Trail. And so what I was telling you, ma'am, if you live at that address, okay, if you live there, if you are given a bond at a later date, you will need to make sure that you get with the sheriff's office, and they will take you over there to get any items that belong to you until your case is closed, ma'am. Do you understand that?
I still don't know what you're saying. It keeps freezing.
Basically,
Oh, he's about to explain it to me.
Oh. Go ahead, deputy.
so basically you can't go back to that location where the incident happened.
Okay.
That's
Right.
and when it froze up, he was basically saying you can't go back to that location. When the incident happened. That's all.
So I can't go back to
You
the
cannot
house where
go.
I pay bills.
You cannot go back because you have a special bonds condition that he just explained to you. It
Okay.
actually froze during that part.
Okay.
The only way you can go back is under 2 conditions. One, if you are accompanied by the deputy when you make bond, or when you hire an attorney, if you speak with your attorney, there may be ways to change that bond amount, or excuse me, to change that bond condition, okay?
I can't afford an attorney.
So you listed that you're making about $5,000 a month. Is that incorrect?
No, that's true, but I have bills and food and 6 children.
Okay, do you take care of those children alone?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any savings at all?
No,
Okay, what type of work are you doing, ma'am?
I'm a nurse's aide. I make about $16, $16.90 an hour, and I have to work overtime just to make what I make to provide for my kids.
Okay. So let me add. I'm just gonna add a note here, so if someone sees this, they'll understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I am, based on that, ma'am, gonna go ahead and grant you an attorney free of charge here this morning, so you'll have somebody to assist you on your case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, you have 2 court dates coming up because you're on a no bond status. Your first court date's gonna be February 19th at 8:30 a.m. That's gonna be your preliminary hearing. Your second court date's gonna be February 23rd at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And that's all gonna be for your bond hearing where they will review your bond again, okay?
Okay,
All right, ma'am, good luck to you.
thank you.
Thank you.
And she waived, no?
Next up, no, she did not.
Okay.
Next up, I have Roxanne Sims. And after are you Miss Sims?
Yes.
All right, so Ms. Sims, you are charged with 1 count of failure to maintain lane, 1 count of DUI, and one count of driving on the opposite side of the road. The bond amount for the DUI is $2,500, for the failure to maintain lane is $500, and the driving on the wrong side of the road, $1,000, for a total bond of $4,000. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay, now, the information that you provided us this morning, Ms. Sam, you are not working at this moment, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, so based on that, ma'am, I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a lawyer free of charge to help you on your case. Now, the last question I have for you is, I talked about a preliminary hearing this morning. Do you want to have that hearing, or would you like me to waive that hearing for you?
We waive it.
All right, so ma'am, I'm gonna show that you have waived your hearing this morning. So the deputies will have something for you to sign right there. And once you sign that, ma'am, that's all I have for you this morning. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so I believe then that, okay, I skipped over Ms. Rivera. I apologize. Is Ms. Rivera there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then after Ms. Rivera should be Tanya Woodhull.
Later.
All right, are you Ms. Rivera? Ma'am, can you hear me? Frozen. Ma'am, can you hear me? All right, there, Ms. Rivera, can you hear me? Wave if you can hear me.
Now I can.
Oh,
Now I
okay,
can.
okay, are you Ms. Rivera?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Rivera, you are charged with one count of driving with no license and one count of improper lane change, ma'am. Let me tell you, I am gonna go ahead and release you this morning. But that does not mean that your case is over. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Yes,
You're
you do.
being released. However, please make sure that when you are released, that we get your best and last known address here at the sheriff's office, because that's where your new court date will be sent to you in the mail. Do you understand that?
Yes,
Okay. Do you have any questions about anything, ma'am?
I do. I
Okay.
already paid bond, so would I get my bond back?
If you already paid it, then you're good to go. I don't believe, my understanding is you do not get it back, however. Let me ask you this. So since you paid it, then you're waiving your right to a preliminary hearing. I'm showing here you are not working. Is that correct? You're not working. Is that correct? All right, we're going in and out. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
I said you are not working. Is that correct?
Yes. That's
Okay.
correct.
So I'm going to give you a lawyer free of charge. Now, the last thing, Ms. Rivera, is just that they are going to have you sign a piece of paper showing that you waive your right to your hearing, okay? So when you're done with me here in about 10 seconds, the deputy's going to hand you a piece of paper, you sign that paper, and then you should be released later sometime today, okay?
Okay, thanks a lot.
All right, thank you.
All right.
And then we should have Ms. Woodhull.
Your Honor, the internet is going in and out, so that's why I keep skipping on our end. So it's
Yeah,
not-
I see. I'm noticing it too. I'm not sure. We'll just have to do best we can.
Yes, sir.
All right, Ms. Woodhull, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Ms. Woodhull, you are charged here with one count of criminal trespass, ma'am. We have reviewed your information here this morning, and I want to tell you that we're going to release you this morning. That does not mean your case is over, ma'am. I'm going to release you, but it doesn't mean your case is over. It just means that while you are out, you need to make sure we've got a good address for you here at the jail, so they'll be able to send you your new court date. Do you understand that?
Yeah, I didn't hear, you kind of went out. I didn't hear all of it.
I was
Sorry.
telling you, ma'am, I'm releasing you this morning.
Mhm.
Your case is not going to be ending. It's still going to be going on, but I'm going to release you. Okay.
Okay.
But let me tell you, you're going to have to find a new address. Because one of my conditions is going to be that you cannot have contact with this Ms. Clark, and you cannot live at that address until your case is closed. Do you understand?
I don't live there.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, I just own the mobile home. That's my home, but
Okay.
mobile, it's a trailer.
Okay. All right. So, ma'am, the only other thing I will tell you, based on what you told me here that you are making, you will have to hire your own attorney. Do you understand?
Okay,
And lastly, I spoke about the preliminary hearing. would you like for me to, since I'm releasing you today, excuse me, since I'm releasing you, you will waive your right to your preliminary hearing. And so the deputies will have a piece of paper for you to sign. And once you sign that, ma'am, you should be released here later today.
Yes, thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, with the men, I'm showing up first. Oh, I'm sorry. And what's your name, ma'am?
Sharonica Burr, sir.
Can you spell that last name for me?
BYRD, sir.
BYRD?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm sorry here. Give me 1 second, Ms. Burr. Okay, I got you. They had you in my other pile here. All right, so Ms. Bird, you are charged with 1 count of contributing to the delinquency or deprivation of a minor here. Your bond amount, ma'am, is $2,000. All right. Earlier I spoke about a preliminary hearing. I don't know if you heard me or not, but I'm going to ask you here now. Would you like to have that hearing, or would you like for me to waive that hearing?
Waive the hearing, sir.
Okay. Now, are you currently working, Ms. Bird?
Yes, sir.
And you're earning about $2,500 a month. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How old this child? How old is this child, ma'am?
It's 6.
Okay. While you've been in custody, are you aware of whether the child has been in the presence of somebody, like who the child's with?
Sometime I have different babysitters. It was my niece who was
Okay.
supposed to keep her from me.
Okay.
And-
So go ahead, ma'am. You go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
Oh, no, and left. I work downtown at the Children's Hospital.
Okay.
So,
And since you've been in custody, the niece has been taking care of her?
yes, a niece, or I have a friend here, they'll take care of her. Because I work Friday, Saturday, Sunday from 7 p.m. to 7 in the morning, so.
Okay. So I'm going to give you an attorney free of charge. I'm also not going to prohibit you from going back to that residence, ma'am. Please understand, I'm taking a chance here to allow you to go back and be in the care of that child, given that that's the allegation. But if you in any way violate or commit another crime, please understand that won't happen a second time. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am. So that's all I have for you this morning. So you showed a waiver this morning. Your bond is $2,000. I've given you a court-appointed lawyer. So the deputies will have a piece of paper for you to sign, and then you'll be done, ma'am.
All right, thank you, sir. You have a great day. Thank you.
All right, you too.
Your Honor, that was the last female.
All right, thank you. I think that should bring up first Thaddeus Bryan then.
Brian, that is Brian.
All right, baby, come on out. Come on out on the stage and have a nice back and go back to the.
Are you Mr. Bryan?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bryan, you were charged with 1 count of driving with a suspended registration, possession of marijuana, no insurance, and no license. No insurance carries a bond of $500, no license $1,500, driving with a suspended registration $500, and the marijuana carries a charge of a bond amount of $10,000. So your total bond, sir, is going to be $12,500. Now, I see here that you are currently working.
Yes, sir.
Based on what you provided here, sir, I am not going to be able to appoint you a lawyer. So you
Okay.
will have to get your own lawyer if you desire one for your case, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, should you not make your bond, I need to tell you when your next court date's going to be.
Okay.
Because you are charged with a felony here, your next court date will be February 19th here of 2024. And it will be at 8:30 a.m. and that will be via Zoom. Again, that's February 19th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. You understand that?
And I can do that Zoom from anywhere, or?
It'll be here in the jail if you don't make bond.
Okay, I got you.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, next up should be Mr. Calhoun, Ezekiel Calhoun,
Calhoun. Hey.
and then I believe Krister Coppage. All right,
Yeah,
are you Mr.
um,
Calhoun?
Your
Yes,
Honor,
sir.
quick question. Mr. Brian, he didn't have to sign a waiver or anything, did he?
That was the gentleman we just had?
Yes, sir.
No, he did not.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Calhoun, you were charged with 1 count of simple assault and 1 count of theft by extortion. The simple assault carries a bond amount of $3,500. The theft by extortion, a bond amount of $20,000 for a total of $23,500. Now, because you were charged with a felony, sir, your next court date is going to be February 19th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, I have gone ahead and appointed you a court-appointed lawyer this morning, so you will have an attorney to help you on your case, okay? All right, did you hear that?
Yeah.
All right, sir, so that's all I have for you this morning. Do you have any questions for me?
No.
Good luck to you, sir.
You too.
Yeah.
Next up should be Mr. Coppage, C-O-P-P-A-G-E.
Coppage.
And then after Mr. Coppage, I have Crawford, Terry Crawford. Are you Mr. Coppage?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Coppage, you are charged with 1 count of simple battery, family violence, 1 count of cruelty to children in the third, and 1 count of obstruction or hindering law enforcement. The first 2 charges carry a bond amount of $3,500, the last one $2,000, for a total of $9,000 in bond. You do have special conditions, sir, and that's to stay away from the alleged victim, Miss Brittany Hopkins, and also to stay away from the address of 1409 Rock Cut Road, apartment B7. I understand that there's an allegation you were living there before. So if you make your bond, sir, I need you to remember that you have to contact the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release if you want to go over there to get any items that belong to you until your case is closed. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. I got one question. The apartment is in my name.
Okay, I understand that, sir, but right now, I have to keep you away from there. So if you want to get that modified, you'll have to speak with your lawyer about that.
Okay.
Now, let me ask you this. I see you're working. How much are you earning per month?
First I get a check every month, and I got two jobs. So
Okay. If you had to guess, how much do you bring in a month?
what for my check every month?
From your jobs.
Be like 3, 1 on 3, the other one like 4.
Okay. So I unfortunately, sir, I'm not going to be able to give you an attorney this morning based on what you provided to me. Now, let me ask you this. I spoke earlier about a preliminary hearing. Would you like me to appoint you that hearing, or would you like to waive that hearing and speed your case along on up to the prosecutor?
I'll do the hearing.
All right. So your hearing date, sir, is going to be February 20th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. So if you do not make your bond on your charges, again, it'll be February 20th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
All right.
Are you Mr. Crawford?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay, yes?
Yes.
Okay. All right, give me 1 second here, Mr. Crawford.
No.
Right. So, Mr. Crawford, you are charged with 1 count of simple battery. Your bond amount, sir, is $5,000. I've gone ahead, sir, and I'm going to appoint you a lawyer this morning to help you on your case. So you'll get that free of charge. Let me ask you this. Because you're charged with a misdemeanor, you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive that hearing. What would you like to do this morning, sir?
I want to take probation and waive my preliminary hearing and then have a magistrate court hearing.
All right, so I'm not going to be able to give you a sentence today. Remember what I said earlier, this isn't where we try your case, but I'll show you waived your preliminary hearing. So the deputies are going to have a piece of paper for you to sign. You can sign that piece of paper, but you're not going to take a plea today if that's what you so desired at some point, okay? All right, sir, good luck to you.
Okay.
Next up, I'm showing Damian Douglas.
Damian who?
Douglas? Are you Mr. Douglas?
Yes.
Mr. Douglas, you are charged with 1 count of speeding, 1 count of reckless driving, 1 count of driving with a suspended license, and 1 count of license not on person. The speeding carries a bond of $2,500, the reckless $2,000, the driving with a suspended license $1,500, and the license not on person, 500, excuse me. Your total bond then, sir, becomes $6,500. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, because you are charged with misdemeanors here, sir, you have a right to that preliminary hearing I mentioned earlier if you don't make your bond, or you can waive your right to that hearing. Which would you like to do here this morning?
Wait.
All right, and it says here, you wrote that you're earning about, is that $3,000 a month?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm going to show here that you waived your hearing this morning. And so the deputies will have a piece of paper for you to sign. However, also let me tell you that because of some information you provided this morning, you do not qualify for a lawyer free of charge. So if you would like a lawyer on your case, you will have to hire your own, okay?
Sure.
All right, good luck to you, sir. Next up should be Mr. Dwight Evans. And after Mr. Evans, James Gibson.
Who got the Evans on?
Gibson? Are you Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Evans, you're charged with 1 count of simple assault and 1 count of theft by extortion. The simple assault carries a bond of $5,000. The theft by extortion, sir, I am not permitted to give you bond this morning. I'm showing here that you are currently on probation in Fulton County out of the case from 2023. So I will not be able to grant bond on that charge. I need to let you know, however, your next court date is going to be February 19th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom, okay?
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Trade just went up.
Are you Mr. Gibson?
Yes, sir.
All right, give me one moment here, Mr. Gibson. I'll be right with you.
No problem.
So, Mr. Gibson, you are charged with 1 count of driving under the influence, and you were charged with 1 count of failure to maintain lane here this morning. The driving under the influence bond amount is $2,500. The failure to maintain lane, sir, I have dismissed that charge. So the only charge you have remaining is a $2,500 DUI. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, because of the information you've provided here this morning, I will not be able to appoint you a lawyer. So you will have to hire your own if you would like one for your case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Lastly, I mentioned the preliminary hearing. You have a right to that preliminary hearing, or you can waive that preliminary hearing. What would you like to do here this morning?
Oh, waive.
I'm sorry?
Waive, sir.
Okay, so the deputy is going to have a piece of paper for you to sign. That's the waiver paper. Once you sign that, you're good to go. I'm done. We're done this morning. Thank you, sir. All right, next up should be Mr. Matthew Griffin and then Harvey Houston. Matthew Griffin, Harvey Houston. All right, are you Mr. Griffin?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Griffin, you are charged here with no registration and driving with a suspended license. Sir, I've reviewed everything here this morning. I am going to go ahead and release you here this morning. Now, let me tell you, that doesn't mean your case is over. It just means I'm simply letting you go, and you don't have to remain in custody until such time as your case is closed. So you will need to make sure wherever you're living that they have that address on file at the jail so that they can send your mail. They can send you where your new court date will be, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, based on the information you provided, sir, I am going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. And because I'm releasing you, you are waiving your right to a preliminary hearing. So there's going to be a piece of paper there that the deputies will need for you to sign. And once you sign that, you should be released here in a few hours, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Houston. Are you Mr. Houston?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Houston, you are charged with 1 count of simple assault, 1 count of theft by extortion. Your bond amount on the assault is $3,500. On the theft by extortion, your bond amount is $20,000 for a total of $23,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, because you are charged with a felony here, I am going to have to give you your next court date. That's going to be February 19th of 2024. That's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, and I've also appointed you a lawyer here free of charge who will be able to assist you on your case, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next up, I have Darren Morgan, and then Chase Phillips.
You said who now?
Darren Morgan, and then Chase Phillips. Morgan, Phillip, and then Phillips.
Sir, yes, sir.
All right, you, Mr. Morgan?
Sir, yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Morgan, you are charged with 1 count of arson in the first degree, sir. Based on the allegation here this morning, I am denying you bond. And so you're gonna get 2 new court dates here, sir. Your first court date is gonna be your preliminary hearing on the 19th of February at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. And then you're gonna get a bond hearing as well, and that's going to be on the 23rd of February at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Sir, yes, sir.
I've appointed you a court-appointed lawyer, and so you will have a lawyer to be able to assist you on your case moving forward free of charge, okay?
Sir, yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Chase Phillips, and after Mr. Phillips, Chase Phillips, and then Jamarcus Pope. All right, are you Mr. Phillips?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Mr. Phillips, you are charged with 1 count of crossing the guard line and 1 count of aggravated assault. After a consideration and review of everything this morning here, sir, I am denying you bond this morning. That means you will have 2 upcoming court dates. Your first court date is going to be the 19th of February at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, and that's going to be your preliminary hearing. And then your second court date is going to be February 23rd of this year at 8:30 a.m., and that's also going to be via Zoom. And I've, as I said, appointed you a lawyer to help you on your case, okay?
All right.
All right, thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
All right, thanks.
Uh-huh.
I'll wait.
Next up should be Mr. Pope. Are you Mr. Pope? Are you Mr. Pope?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So Mr. Pope, you are charged with 1 count of arson in the first. After a review of the information that you provided here, sir, I am gonna appoint you a lawyer. Your bond, however, has been denied this morning, so I'm gonna give you 2 court dates. Your first court date is gonna be your preliminary hearing. That's gonna be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom on February 19th. Your second court date is gonna be your bond hearing review, and that's gonna be on the 23rd of February at 8:30 a.m., and that's also going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
All right, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I have Antonius Simmons, and are you Mr. Simmons?
Yes, sir.
So, Mr. Simmons, I'm showing here that you were charged with 1 count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substances Act for being in possession of the vape pen, and 1 count of possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana. The vape pen is a felony charge, sir. Now, based on the information you provided, I am going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. If you fail to make your bond, sir, your next court date will be February 19th of 2024, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, that's all I have. Do you have any questions for me?
What's my bond?
It is, again, $5,000 for the felony and $3,500 for the marijuana, for a total of $8,500.
8,500 to you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, good luck to you. Thank you. All right, I believe that's everybody, Deputy.
Yeah, Sean, that was, Mr. Sims was the last one.
All right, thank you all so much.
Yes, sir. You have a good one. Drive home safe.
Same to you. Bye-bye.